Well, conservatives are split between the Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson interview. The Democrats are going crazy over the new ballroom. And Kamala Harris is making a comeback? I don't know. I'll explain more to you up ahead.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
In the last generation, the only way to God was through Christ. In this generation, the only way to God will be through Christ.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
Well, thank you for tuning back in to the Stetson Coursey Show. If you haven't heard, this week there was an interview that was done. An interview by Tucker Carlson interviewing Nick Fuentes. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Tucker Carlson. I'm a big Tucker fan here. Don't always agree with him, but hey, I like him. I think he's entertaining. And then Nick Fuentes. You probably don't know him, but who is Nick Fuentes? Well, he's a 27-year-old. He's a political commentator, if you will, but mostly does streaming online. And he's making moves in the young generation and the Gen Z. More people are watching him, and he's gaining attention, and we've got to talk about him. Now, this is the problem, is because I just said, yeah, we've got to talk about him. But a lot of the right now is saying, no, we can't even utter the name Nick Fuentes. We can't do it. Okay, let's talk about that. So this interview really was a pretty basic interview. I mean, I watched the whole thing. It was fine. It was interesting. Nothing extraordinary happened. A couple weird things, but I mean, really nothing that strange, nothing that unusual. A pretty simple interview. But the reaction to this on the right has been, oh my goodness, we cannot allow this to happen. We can't allow this to happen. This guy to be speaking on a conservative platform, this is not allowed. And I'm thinking, whoa, okay. I know Nick Fuentes is controversial. He is. He is somebody that is an extreme right-winger. He said some terrible, terrible comments about Jews, about blacks, about other races, about women. He's not a guy that I like. He's a very immature guy. I completely reject the idea that Nick Fuentes is going to be the future of the conservative movement. He's incredibly immature. He's not a leader. Okay? Not in the leader in the sense that he can unify people to move them together. But what this interview was him sharing his side of the story. Just talking about who he is, what he believes. A lot of people have never heard that. They've heard a lot of snippets about who he is. But I thought it was nice to hear him speak for himself, say what he believes, right? Nothing wrong with that. And the conservative movement has fought for years to fight free speech and to allow it, fight for it. Yet when somebody uses their free speech, that's not okay. And I see the graph all the time on X of look at the diverse political thoughts on the right. The right is so much more politically diverse on the right than it is on the left. Yeah, which is true. That's totally true. But when somebody expresses their diverse thought on the right, we call them Hitler. Now, I'm not saying that one's actually not that far off for Nick Fuentes. Like, that is closer of an association to him than anybody else. But saying that anybody who watches this interview is Hitler, it's crazy to me. This is what conservatives have been fighting against. All the conservatives saying the left has to tone down the rhetoric. And now, after an interview, anybody who watches the interview, anybody who doesn't say something critical about the interview is Hitler? This is what we're doing? Why? What happened? Why are we all of a sudden hypocrites? You can't call us Hitler, But within our own party, we can call other people Hitler. Again, I don't support Nick Fuentes. I don't want to see this guy succeed. Nobody else really does either. It's a very small group. The Groypers, if you will. That's what they're called. It's a relatively small group. But what people are saying is that we need to silence them, that they can't even talk. Nobody should interview them. Nobody should share what they have to say. Nobody should challenge them. We should just leave it. Keep them silenced. One, that's not a conservative value. It's not. Two, when has this worked in Nick Fuentes' career? He's been going for about 10 years and has been silenced the whole time, pretty much. Been gate-kept. And it hasn't worked. So if you're saying we can't add fuel to the fire, we can't talk to him, we can't talk about him, because it will just add fuel to the fire, well, clearly walking away from this fire doesn't work either. So in my opinion, the thing that you have to do, if you don't want to see this succeed, you're going to have to challenge it. You have to show that he's wrong by proving he is wrong, not by saying he can't speak. It's crazy to me to think that that's the best option. It's just to silence him. No, that's not a conservative value. That's not what we do. It would make us hypocrites. Again, I don't think Nick Fuentes fits the conservative movement the way that we want to at all. At all. But you have to win based off of defeating him, not by ignoring him. So that's what I have to say on that. There's really not much more to say other than what I've said. He's a bad guy. He's not one I support. But this outrage, it makes us look like hypocrites. And I don't like that. Now on to the next big story. This was really bigger last week. It's still going on, of course. But the outrage on the left this time. Yes, that's right. There's outrage on the left. There's always outrage by somebody. Okay? We're just going to be talking about it. So the left is outraged about the White House ballroom. I'm sure you've heard about it. So in the past summer, the president announced that they would be building a ballroom at the White House where the East Wing sits. Now, there's a little bit of debate behind this, but the president did say that the East Wing would not be affected in building this. Now, the reason I say there's a little bit of debate, because the initial drawings that were released when this was announced shows that the ballroom completely absorbing the East Wing. So was it really ever going to be intact or stay in place? I don't know. I'm not sure. Not really sure it matters either. So what is the objection to the ballroom? Can anybody tell me what it is? Because I can't find it other than we don't like Trump, so we don't like the ballroom. I hear that the East Wing is historic. It's beautiful. We can't destroy the East Wing. And look, I love historical buildings. I love preserving places like that. But what is special about the East Wing? Can the average American even tell me what the East Wing is? I don't even think the average American would know that it's at the White House. But then the ones that do, I think the extent of what they could say is it's the First Lady's office and it's the visitor entrance for the White House. What else? What else does it do? Why is it so historic? Why is it so beautiful? I can't find the answer to that, truly. I can't see enough of an answer. Now, if we were just tearing it down for no reason, okay, sure. But we're placing it with what I believe is a beautiful ballroom. I do. I think it's beautiful. But they can't even tell us the truth about it. The objections. There is no honest objection to it. I want to play you a video from the Democratic Party. Let's play this clip. Okay, so right here we've got the hallway. This is a corner of the East Wing. This one's actually a nice picture. It really is. This is the fountain that used to be outside of the East Wing. It's no longer there, but that is nice. But it is an example of something that was beautiful and it was torn down at the White House. But anyways. All right, same hallway. Both of these pictures, exact same hallway. So far we've had 3 pictures of the same hallway, of the beautiful historic building that can't be touched. All right, the east side of the White House, you can really barely even tell that it's the East Wing, unless you know the White House. But this looks more like a picture of the White House itself, the original White House, than it is of the East Wing. But let's keep going. All right, this picture here, this is Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace in England, right? Not even the White House, not even the East Wing, Buckingham Palace. And this is posted by the Democrats, okay? This is the cross hall that's in the White House. So when you, essentially, if you opened up the front doors of the White House, this would lead you into the cross hall. And that's what that is. So there was only 3 pictures of the interior of the East Wing, all of them being the exact same hallway, and then 3 exterior pictures, only one of which looked good, and that was the one of the entrance with the fountain, but the fountain's destroyed. And then, of course, 2 weren't even of the East Wing. So, I don't know. If this thing is so special, if it's so beautiful, if it can't be touched or destroyed, why do you have to lie to me to convince me? Why do you have to do that? Just show me pictures of the East Wing. Show me its importance. And maybe I'll believe you. But if you're going to lie to me about it, I can't respect that. And I can't support your argument. And it's not just the Democratic page. I'm going to give you a few more examples. So here's a video I found on Instagram. Ali San Marco, I guess is how you would say that. So let's play it. Rip the East Wing. All right. You see, that's nice. It's the entrance of the East Wing. Christmas time, very pretty. All right, it's the same hallway. That's fine. Okay, this is part of the East Wing, or at least sort of part of the East Wing. I'll accept it. All right, this picture here is not the East Wing at all. This is the East Room in the White House. So when I say the White House, I'm going to say the White House and then the East Wing and then the West Wing. I mean, it's all together, kind of the White House, but the White House is in the historic old White House that you see. Well, you see right there. See it behind me, that White House. So this is the East Room in the White House. This was a ballroom that is still there, but it's not nearly the size of the ballroom that's going to be built. So yeah, but this isn't the East Wing. So this isn't being destroyed. All right, this is the Red Room, again, in the White House, the original part of the White House. Not the East Wing at all. And outside of here, that's the cross hall that I was talking about in the previous video. All right, this again is the East Wing. So the reason I show this video, because it's not that great of a video, there's nothing super informative about it, but the only things that they can show us about the East Wing and its importance is the outside, but not even that much of the outside, just the entrance or a random corner on the building. And then this exact same hallway. I mean, I get that there's probably some private areas, definitely private areas of the East Wing that they can't share. But I don't know. I just don't get the argument of we have to protect this building. And obviously there's been renovations done at the White House throughout the years. Here, let me show you a couple pictures of them. Yeah. Look at all these different renovations that have been done by the White House. So this is nothing new, but this is adding something. Again, I think it's beautiful. All right, so here's an exterior photo of what it's going to look like. I saw this captioned on X and said, "Oh my goodness, this is going to look terrible." And I thought, really? I actually think it looks quite good. To me, it makes the White House look bigger and more powerful. You can barely tell the East Wing is there, and now you get to see this gigantic ballroom. I think it will actually make the White House look really good. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, And let me be clear, I'm not saying this because I'm just a Trump fanboy. I'm really, really not. There are plenty of things that I disagree with Trump on that we'll talk about in the future. But come on, this looks nice. This looks really, really nice. The interior photos. People are saying the interior photos are gaudy. No, they're not. If you think this looks gaudy, I don't think you understand the theme of the White House, because to me, this fits the theme of the White House. This is very fitting. Now, the Oval Office is gaudy. I mean, I do not like the look of the Oval Office. There's a couple different things, like the crown molding with the gold, I do think looks pretty good. But most of it, no. I do not like the current Oval Office that Trump has decorated. You don't know where to look. It's all over the place. So I'm just not a fan of that. But this interior, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Really, really is beautiful. Oh yeah, the nice windows there. I mean, I think it's going to be a really good looking place. Apparently this is something that's needed at the White House. Obviously, I've never worked for the White House. I've never lived there, so I don't actually know. But yeah, I'll take them at their word for this. I think this is going to be a wonderful addition. I can't see any objection to it. This is replacing the East Wing with a ballroom. It's going to look good. It's being paid by private dollars. What's the objection? Well, one objection that they're trying to use, again, this is another example of just lying, plainly, openly lying, to convince you that this is a bad thing, because they don't actually have any arguments as to why it's bad, other than, again, I don't like Trump. So this is Caroline Leavitt. She was asked a question by a reporter. Let's watch the clip, and then I'll tell you how this was shared around on the internet.
Go ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden
I'm going
patio,
into the back. Sorry. Go ahead.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly, and so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. Kristen.
Last week, President Trump.
The question was, in addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden, is the president looking into any other renovations? Caroline Leavitt responded, no, at this time, the president's main priority is the ballroom. Context, people. What was the question? It was about renovations, and she responded about the renovations. But the way this is being shared online is Donald Trump doesn't care that the government shut down. Donald Trump doesn't give a care about anything. The 40 million people that are going to lose their SNAP benefits. His only priority, his main priority, is the ballroom. So wildly taken out of context. These are sitting politicians, senators, congressmen that are sharing this. It's disgraceful. It's really disgraceful to see people just so clearly lying about this, lying to you, lying to me about this ballroom, about what she said. It's disgusting. We shouldn't accept this. I don't care whether you're right or left. I don't care how you feel about this ballroom. You should condemn this. This is lying to you. It's really, really despicable behavior. Now on to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is thinking that as long as I just say the F word every once in a while, this will get people's attention, and maybe they'll vote for me again, even though I was not ever voted in during a primary. I was actually the first one to drop out in 2020. But anyways, they'll support me now if I just cuss around a little bit. Oh, Kamala Harris has gone on a couple of tours recently on podcast interviews, things like that. And it's just, I don't understand what she's doing. I cannot see why in the world she thinks that this is a good idea. But then again, that's Kamala Harris for you. So let's play this clip here. Apparently she's not done, that she's going to run for president.
In terms then of what is next for you, you write very powerfully about the differences that many women have made to your life, whether that was your meeting with Angela Merkel or the experience of growing up with your extraordinary mother or the stories of your baby nieces, Amara and Leela. When are they going to see a woman in charge in the White House?
In their lifetime, for sure.
Could it be you?
Possibly.
Have you made a decision yet?
No, I have not.
But you say in your book, I'm not done.
That is correct. I am not done. I have lived my entire career a life of service, and it's in my bones. And there are many ways to serve. I've not decided yet what I will do in the future beyond what I am doing right now.
Okay. So in other words, she hasn't decided, but she's absolutely decided that she's running for president. Look, if she wasn't running for president, she wouldn't even be throwing this idea around that I'm not done. She rejected running for California governor. Maybe that'll change, but she rejected it at this current time. Clearly, she has ambitions of running for president again. I don't understand how she didn't get the message that when she was not popular in 2020, and then again was not popular in 2024, lost a really embarrassing defeat, I would argue. A Republican winning the popular vote for the first time in 20 years, winning all the swing states. Yeah, that's an embarrassing defeat. But she still thinks it's a good idea. I don't understand that, but okay. Let's go on to another interview she's doing. Oh yeah, here's one. Here's saying she thinks that we should lower the age of voting to 16.
I think we should.
We should lower the age of voting to 16 because she so well understands Gen Z.
I think we should reduce voting age to 16. I'll tell you why. So, Gen Z, their age about 13 through 27. They've only known the climate crisis. They missed substantial parts of their education because of the pandemic. If they're in high school or college, especially in college, it is very likely that whatever they've chosen as their major for study may not result in an affordable wage. They've coined the term climate anxiety to describe fear of not only being able to buy a home, but that fear will be wiped out by extreme weather, but fear of having children. It is expected that Gen Z will have 10 to 12 jobs in their lifetime. They are a larger number than boomers.
The great philosopher, Kamala Harris. Yes, she definitely understands my generation, Gen Z. That's why Gen Z is making a very clear shift to the right, being one of the most conservative generations in many generations. That's why Charlie Kirk didn't resonate with Gen Z at all, but it was Kamala Harris who does. Yeah. Well, honestly, lower the age to 16. Do it, because my generation is more conservative, so they're going to vote that way. No, actually, I really don't support lowering the age to 16. I kid on that. But it's so bizarre to see Kamala Harris think she resonates with Gen Z and wants to lower the age to 16 because of it. And that we have climate anxiety. Hey, I don't have climate anxiety. I don't think about the climate. I just don't. The climate change narrative has pretty much been destroyed. We don't talk about it anymore. Doesn't matter. It's losing popularity, actually. Even CNN, they released a poll that it's gone down. I think since 1989, it was 35% of the people were worried about it. And then in 2020, 2023, something like, I'll pull up the poll. It went up to 45%, and now we're back down to 40. So over all this time, it only went up 10 points or roughly around there. Again, I'll put the correction on there if I'm mistaken, but it's dropped now. So look, this isn't a winning topic. It's not an important topic. You know, I'm not a believer in it. I'm also just not worried about it. But yeah, climate anxiety, she definitely understands Gen Z and our issues. But maybe the best way to understand Gen Z is just to speak like us. So Let's throw around the F word every once in a while.
Are you kidding me? This guy wants to create a ballroom for his rich friends while completely turning a blind eye to the fact that babies are going to starve when the SNAP benefits end in just hours from now? Come on. So what? I'm not going to be distracted by, oh, does the guy have a big hammer? What about those babies?
Oh, does the guy have a big hammer? Yeah, I don't know. Kamala Harris is one of the most peculiar and interesting, but interestingly horrible presidential candidates of all time and politicians of all time. So I'll let her put it into her own words, and then we're going to wrap up the show. This is the best way to describe Kamala Harris.
The thing I kept saying over and over again, I was in a state of shock. I was so inarticulate.
I was so inarticulate. True words have never been said, Kamala. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Stetson Coursey Show. This was a different one for me. I tried to put in a couple different topics. Maybe it was good. Let me know in the comments what you think. So I'll see you next week. Wow. What a wonderful episode. I know you loved it. You're thinking this guy is not only smart, but he's charismatic and handsome. He's a full package. I know you want more. So click here on the side. Watch this video and subscribe. That way you can see more.